2020, Alan Wynne-Jones became the most capped player in the history of Test match rugby. England won 2 trophies in, round about a month, and Teddy Thomas did something at all, which is remarkable when we consider he is the laziest man to ever visit a gym. But in amongst the wildfires and murder hornets, this was a year in which some rugby was played by some people, and it's time to celebrate what rugby those of us who decided to watch Wasps rather than Hornets got to witness. It's time for the final instalment of the Squidge Rugby Team of the Year, and we're finishing with the finishers. It's the back three of the year. A few years ago, Johnny May was convinced he was possessed by a chicken. This year just gone, Johnny May was just a man possessed. Who knows what kind of deal with the chickeny devil one has to do to gain that kind of acceleration and eye, but Johnny May has not looked back since. Possibly because he's going so fast that if he did, he'd suffer whiplash. May has improved the technical elements of his game, but whereas with some players that comes at the cost of flair or willingness to attack when it seemingly isn't on, May has remained also willing and also able. His 2 tries against France showcased just what a weapon he is for England, tearing through to keep a team who weren't in the game, who were thoroughly outplayed, in that game. And then he shut things down against Ireland by repeating his solo antics and scoring a try so good the RFU commissioned t-shirts to commemorate it. May still be a little bit rough around the edges, but they're more than worth it for the hell of a player you're getting with the ball in hand. With the Lions tour coming up next year and England looking to build on their attack as they head into 2021, let's hope Poultry Satan left another year on his contract to see May storm through the new year. As joyous as the rise of this new era in French rugby has been, it has left one slight sour spot, because despite Gautier's real persistence to try Teddy Thomas, it does feel as though one of Test rugby's greatest delights is on its way out, at least for the time being. That, of course, is the madcap, unpredictable maverick who you aren't quite sure if they're good or not, if they're worth it or not, and just reeks, absolutely stinks of French. And so, that's all the more reason for us to celebrate the continued presence on the international stage of one young Miss Cyril Benet. Benet finished 2020 as the top try scorer in either men's or women's Test rugby that year, but also by almost seeing red for kicking an opponent in the shoulder. She's the kind of player who can conjure something from absolutely nothing, but never settles for nothing from something. A spectacular player who is also a technically excellent, very, very good finisher, but has French magic deep in her genes. She has that kind of rare running style that makes it look like she's not going that quick, but then you realise the fullback that's really lingering behind, struggling to catch it, is Sonic the Hedgehog. In a year that's been lighter than usual and outstanding winger tactics, it wouldn't feel right to overlook the wonderful work of Benet as she glides and crashes her way across Test pitches across Europe. And it's going to be a joy to see her take that talent to the Tasman for the World Cup next year. It's an odd thing, having a reputation. It's both a blessing and a curse, a boon and a fall, a cause of pressure and release. Samuel Radradra probably gets more oohs for doing simple things than he would if he hadn't been built up to be the insane freak of nature we all saw at the World Cup. There were turnovers Richie McCaw or David Pocock could steal that would garner greater applause than if, Nick Cudd won them. But equally means a player like Beauden Barrett can turn himself into the best rounded kicking and playmaking fullback in the world, and nobody would notice because we're all so desperate to see him use his incredible pace in the 10 channel to burst the line like it's a hope or dream in 2020. But that's what happened this year. I don't think Barrett has fundamentally changed as a player, but what he's done is adapted, and he's done a bloody good job of it as well. 2020 Bodie is solid, reliable and accurate as anything. His performance in the final return test against Argentina, his last game of the year, in particular, was an absolute masterclass. It wasn't talked about for some reason, but it was near enough the best display of tactical kicking we saw all year, and Barrett's boot totally took apart an opponent who had caused them historic levels of havoc a few weeks earlier. It's an unconventional selection considering who he is, but for my money, Beauden Barrett was the best fullback in the world in 2020 and deserves to round out the 2020 Squidge Rugby Team of the Year for another 12 months. However, Benet's place in particular was a bit up for grabs, as I almost put in two men who pushed their claims very close. Mika Koroibete played his absolute heart out for the Wallabies and might even beat May for the most efficient user of his God-given pace. And then Cheslin Kolbe's form for Toulouse was unbelievably good. It was so good I almost put a player who hasn't played a single test that year in this team for the first time. However, plenty more stood out. Caleb Clark is the most obvious name, screaming and shouting his name from the rooftops, that's all to remember, while Tom Wright and Filippo Dangunu also had great ball-in-hand seasons for the Wallabies. England's axis of Watson, Nowell and Daly are all still terrific, really good. Scotland contributed Stuart Hogg, who put the obvious blunder behind him to become such a sharp weapon once again, whilst wee Darcy Graham was also a lot of fun to watch. Andrew Conway had a hell of a first half of the year, only to fall out of favour once COVID rolled around. Matthias Bellini, likewise, very, very good in that first half of the year for Italy before disappearing through injury. Juan Imhoff was fantastic, and Louis Rees-Zammit lit up the Premiership, then shone again when given a shot for Wales, whilst Josh Adams on the other wing might have had an on-the-surface quieter year than last year, but he remains the most technically excellent winger in the world, doing the unflashy stuff better than anyone else. He has quiet games, but he's never, ever had a bad one. I should probably mention Vincent Rattez, I should probably mention Geordie Barrett, Bodie's brother. I should definitely mention Will Jordan, who obviously was brilliant in Super Rugby, and then managed to score 2 tries when given an opportunity for the All Blacks. And at fullback, Anthony Boutier and Brice Dulon were both perfect for France. Matteo Minardi was entertaining as ever, and Lee Halfpenny returned from lockdown back to his absolute best, ready to deservedly win a place on that Lions tour, only to spark endless cop from English and Irish fans who haven't actually been paying attention to how well he's been playing lately. No, sorry, that was accidental Lions salt, already beginning. I'd apologise, but that means 2020 is officially over, and it must be 2021. So that brings us through another year's Team of the Year. That's the whole lot up there now. Thank you for watching. If you haven't seen the others, you can go and have a look for them. They're elsewhere on the channel. The Squidge Awards, we are probably tomorrow, possibly the day after. I kind of fell a bit behind schedule after there was a long story. There's a fire in my building and knocked the electricity out for the whole day, so I kind of couldn't get anything done. But there we go. Anyway, everyone's fine. But yes, the Squidge Awards coming up very shortly. In the meantime, please let me know what your favourite try from this year was, or any contenders you've got, and I'll try and squeeze some more of those in. So please send those my way. And to anyone in the comments elsewhere that's saying stop picking female players, I'm not going to do that, so you can keep that to yourself. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will see you very soon. In the meantime, very happy New Year and a continued rest of happy.